everyone, welcome back to my channel, where I make art and talk about my favorite topics of the week. The time has finally come. I am returning to Marvel Rivals concept designs. I haven't done one of these since October of last year, and there was a little part of me that questioned whether or not I still remembered how to do it. So, in order to ease me back into the series, I am going to be drawing my own spider-sonas in the Marvel Rivals style. Honestly, doing this speed draw feels a little bit like a full circle moment. My first video on this channel also features my spider-sonas. And that was when I didn't even voice over my speed draws because I was self-conscious about speaking. And now I'm out here yapping all the time, but that video kicked off this channel, and now I'm drawing the spider-sonas again to kick off the 2026 run of my favorite series on this channel. In that video, I do actually include a lot about the lore of the characters in the captions, but it's hard to follow along because I didn't exactly time it well, and it's hard to read captions and watch the speed draw at the same time. But that means I get to tell you all about it again today. So the idea of the spider-sonas obviously comes from the popularity of the Spider-Verse films, but the lore is actually loosely inspired by the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. In that, Spider-Man is recruited to S.H.I.E.L.D., where he learns to become a better hero. In our story, Spider-Man turns down the offer, and S.H.I.E.L.D., being unable to trust or control him, creates Project Spider. Project Spider is the name of a series of experiments focused on studying and replicating Spider-Man's abilities. The scientist in charge of the experiment is Ahalia Meta. S.H.I.E.L.D. hired this young super genius, who managed to emulate many of Spider-Man's abilities through technological means. However, there were certain biological elements that she felt were lacking. She then pivoted towards creating a bio-altering serum, but mysteriously it had no effect when she tested it on herself. However, S.H.I.E.L.D. secretly administered the second serum to Jia Tao, a longtime operative. The serum gave Jia the ability to stick to almost any surface, enhanced strength and speed, advanced healing abilities, and claws that secrete a powerful neurotoxin. You can actually read the background for these characters in more detail on my website. I will link it in the description for you, but now I'm going to talk about the designs. The one you are currently watching is named Avicularia. These designs today are a little different from the original ones, but the changes are minor. For this one, I wanted to make the spider emblem a little bit bigger, just so it reads a little easier. But the main point of this and the original design is that I wanted it to resemble the classic S.H.I.E.L.D. uniform. Since Jia is originally a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, I wanted this spider design to look like she modified her old uniform to fit her new powers and role as a spider person. The rest of the design takes a little inspiration from some of my favorite canon spider designs, specifically Ghost Spider and Spider-Man 2099. So if you are wondering why I have more than one spider-sona, the truth is I don't. But whenever I make any kind of self-insert type character, I always include my best friend and draw her one as well. Because obviously, we'd be besties in every universe. I just call them mine because I designed them both since she's not an artist. It was actually her suggestion to draw our spider-sonas in the rival style. I asked her last year for character suggestions for this series when I was first starting it, but at the time I wasn't so sure about doing OCs and wanted to be more realistic when choosing characters. But like, what the hell? I want to have fun. So her spider-sona is Ahalia Meta, aka Chrysilla. When we were discussing designs, she told me she wanted something pretty and colorful. So I googled colorful spiders, and don't worry, I won't put any of them on screen. But I learned about the genus of jumping spiders called Chrysilla, which is where I got the name. And they have these colorful, iridescent bodies that look really pretty if you aren't afraid of spiders. Also, on the topic of names and spiders, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Avicularia is from Avicularia purpurea, which is a bluish-purplish tarantula. But back to Chrysilla. She's the techie one, because one of my bestie's favorite characters is Iron Man. So her character is also sort of based around him, in the way that Ahalia is super smart and also built her suit with technology. You'll also notice the little robot spider I've drawn with Chrysilla, and I named it Webby, which stands for Wireless Encrypted Binary Bot and Interface. Does it make any sense? Absolutely not. But I needed some techie sounding words that would spell Webby because I wanted a cute name for the robot friend. Webby is also one of Chrysilla's creations, and he's a helpful little assistant for the spiders when they go on missions. He can probably also carry things, since unlike with Avicularia, I did not add any pockets to Chrysilla's design. I also did make some changes to her design from the original, namely having the lower legs of the spider emblem become the pleats of the skirt. I also connected one of the pairs of the legs to the cape, and changed the placement of some of the patterns. I also changed the wrist cuffs to much smaller diamond-shaped web shooters. Since I brought the patterns down to her arms, I thought the cuffs would look too clunky. For both of these designs, I used gradient maps for color after doing the rendering in grayscale. Now, I don't normally work using this method. This only worked because I knew which colors I wanted to use. That being said, I did play around with the hue and saturation to do a couple of versions of these designs with different recolors that you can see right now. I've also been experimenting with different ways to record and seeing what other types of videos I can make. And I'm thinking I could potentially get my bestie to feature on some videos. If I can convince her to come on, we might see Bestie make her official debut on this channel and y'all can finally meet her. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any suggestions for video ideas, you can let me know in the comments below. Follow me on Instagram at KaylinVerse to see the rest of my work, and if you want to support me so I can keep making more videos, you can subscribe or donate to my Ko-fi, or find my stuff for purchase on Redbubble and InPrint. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.